Now, one of the oil companies, this one of yours, Francais? Francais? That one of yours said, no, you must agree now. We said, no, we cannot agree. Without a Chibaro. What they call a Chibaro in Francais? A Chibaro to calculate. Huh? We can agree, calculate.
This is the journey to one Africa.
And my question is to His Excellency, Mr. Kagame. Mr. President, last week, Canada deported Leon Mugesera, and in the same week, the ICT agreed to transfer one case to Rwanda, but amidst a lot of reluctance within the people who run the court. Can we expect Rwanda to make a strong demand that ICT's mandate is not renewed and all cases be transferred to Rwanda? And also relatedly, if you could make a comment on the Rwandan judicial system, because a lot of criticism against Rwanda is that the judicial system is ineffective to deliver fair and impartial justice to the genocide suspects. Thank you.
I think it has been agreed, and ICTR is not going to transfer the first case to the Rwandan judiciary or justice system. I think over the years it has been agreed the justice system in Rwanda has come a long way and is effective. It's impartial, it's fair, it can handle cases like any justice system of any country is able to do. So that is a debate that we are done with. I think the conclusion has already been made. So that's not the issue. The rest is just politicking. When people keep raising issues, it is just politics being played aside. And in any case, even those complaints that had come up within the ICTR itself, the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, had been answered, and I think they had been put to rest, and that's how the UN, the ICTR, and other related institutions had found the Rwandan justice system able to try these cases that would be transferred to Rwanda and things like that. It's in the same context that Leon Mugesera, a known genocide suspect, has been transferred to Rwanda by Canada, because Canada, over time, observing the system, the justice system in Rwanda, and the Rwanda justice system having qualified in all ways to try our own cases, or these cases, like any other international justice system would. That's how Canada has finally agreed to transfer Leon Mugesera's case. So I don't think there are issues about how able and fair Rwanda's judicial system would be in trying these genocide cases and or any other cases. So we are moving on. We are forward-looking. The system has been growing. It has been effective, efficient. In fact, if you look at the combination of justice processes in Rwanda, there are hundreds of thousands of cases that have been tried by the Gacaca courts, if you have heard about them. And they have done so expeditiously and fairly, and in fact have resolved not only justice system or justice problems, it has also contributed to the reconciliation process, because Gacaca courts have served to make sure that justice is done, but also to ensure reconciliation takes place. So a combination of the normal justice system, the judiciary, and other traditional means of justice system have combined to ensure that Rwanda's system is working very well to the point that it has brought reassurance to those who would have any questions.
Your Excellencies, my name is Etienne Gatanazi. I report for Rwanda Television. My question is in the field of industry. Your Excellency, Yoweri Museveni, last time when you had come to Rwanda, I think you saw some industries that are not here in Rwanda, in Uganda. The same applies to Your Excellency Paul Kagame. When you came, for example, at Ruzira, you found that the chemical maybe is not in Rwanda. So I would like to know what are the two states trying to do so that the sharing of experience happens in both countries. Thank you.
The industries, I don't think we can have exact duplication of industries, because industries are based on three bases. Either they are agro-industrial, based on agriculture, because Rwanda is agricultural, Uganda is agricultural. And like the industries which I visited, the milk, the Enyanji factory, those ones are actually also here, the same factories of milk and milk products, they are here because of the similar agricultural base. So one category of industries are the agro-industrial. Now, the other category would be the ones based on minerals. I think these are the ones we should consult on, because these minerals are being exported and processed to Europe. And this is a very big loss. In particular, there is a mineral called coltan, columbite, tantalite. It is here in Uganda, maybe in Rwanda it is there. I know it is in Congo. This is a very important mineral for making computers. But Ugandans here have been exporting soil, itaka. What do you call it in Kinyarwanda? Ubutaka. Ubutaka bwose barabujyana. Now this is terrible, to export soil to Europe. So we would be very happy to cooperate with Rwanda to stop the exporting of ubutaka to Europe, because we can make computers. You know, those fellows are using coltan to make computer parts. So there's no reason why we shouldn't do that. So that would be second category of factories, the ones based on minerals. I think these are the ones we need to consult on. Because those ones may need a big investment and they can be shared. Then you have industries based on other natural resources like timber. I think those are more specific to each country. Then you have industries based on knowledge. You know, the brain is also a base of industries. I think again on those ones we can work together, because those are a product of research and so on. So it depends. There are some which are specific, which are not easy to or are similar, and there are others which are specific. So the ones which can be shared should be shared, in my opinion. You are right, should be shared. Especially the ones based on minerals, the ones based on knowledge. Like for instance, our universities here are moving very fast on these knowledge-based industries. Thank you.
Hello, Max Delaney from Agence France Presse. A question first for President Kagame. Recently, 4 generals from the Rwandan army were placed under house arrest. Can you explain to us what happened and why? And a question to President Museveni. Can you give us any indication of when you will endorse the farm down oil deal with Tullow? Thank you very much.
Well, I'll explain, but I didn't think I had to, because for generals or other people in any country, in any system, to be held accountable by the system they work within or for is a normal thing. It happens every day, it happens everywhere, it happens whenever any individual has to account for this. So it's that, in that normal way that the 3, 2 generals and 1 colonel had to be held accountable. They were involved in cases of indiscipline. These are being investigated by the system itself. And I find nothing abnormal or anything beyond that I needed to explain.
The mysterious language of these people. You heard the young man saying there, farm down. This is to be mysterious. But what I came to learn that they mean is that some oil companies were trying to buy the shares of other oil companies. That's what they call farm down. I don't know why they call it farm down, because it has nothing to do with farming. Why can't you use the word sale? Why don't you say, when will Tullow sell out their shares? What this man is asking is, this Tullow company are the ones who drilled the oil here. When we found the oil, they came to drill to confirm whether it's there or not and in what quantities. And when they found the oil, then they want to sell some of their shares. That's what we call farm down. But in order for them to do that, the government must give a no objection. If they want to sell to so and so, or so and so, the government must say, yes, we approve, or we don't approve that one. That's what he's talking about. Well, I was ready to authorize, but some of the oil groups brought new confusion, so I did not accept. You remember there were basically 2 issues. One issue was what they call the stabilization clause. Stabilization clause says that in case a company, oil company, loses money in future because of the tax policies of the government, if the government, for instance, increases the tax rate, and because of that, the oil company loses money, that the government must compensate that oil company. That's what they call the stabilization clause. Meaning, you should stabilize the income of the oil companies. And we said, okay, no problem. Mark you, this does not include if the company loses money because of the market forces. It is only when it loses money because the government has increased taxes or something like that. Because the government is the one responsible for the company losing money. Now, we told the oil companies, no problem. If the government increases taxes and you lose money because of that, you lose earning levels. We can compensate you provided we have got a formula of calculating that loss. For instance, did you actually lose your level earnings? So we wanted a formula, and we suggested NPV, net present value, or internal rate of return, IRR, whichever was, and they did not like that. So then we said, okay, if you don't want a scientific way of measuring the loss, then let us leave it out of the agreement. When that situation comes, and they didn't want that, so that's why the thing delayed. Now the second issue was we wanted a refinery to refine oil here. Refine oil for petroleum for Uganda, for the region. And in case there is a lot more petrol, then we can look at the pipeline to export crude. Although originally for us we wanted mainly to concentrate on the refinery. But we are willing to examine the issue of crude, the crude pipeline, if the economics justify it. Now, one of the oil companies, this one of yours, Francais? Francais? That one of yours said, no, you must agree now. We said, no, we cannot agree. Without a chibaro. What do they call a chibaro in Francais? A chibaro to calculate. Huh? We can agree, Karki. That's what we told Total. Let's do Karki first, and then we agree. But they say, no, you agree without Karki. We said, no, sorry. So those are the issues. So I don't know whether they have changed their mind, because I have not heard from them recently. Merci beaucoup.
In Sereko, and I work for Urban Television. To both of you, you know we have a resource known as Kagera, Nyabarongo, and Ruvubu, some places, which has a capacity of producing close to 2,900 kilowatts of power. You both look at prosperity of your people, and you both say that without industrialization, your people will not prosper. I'm asking whether there is a way you are going to work together to establish electricity sources on this river which is not utilized. Then to Your Excellency Paul Kagame, Rwanda has started efforts to, it is applying to the Security Council after Togo goes out. I would like to know how you use that position, if successful, if you went through successful, how you use that position to the benefit of Uganda and Rwanda. Thank you.
Well, the last question, how we use the position, I think basically African countries go there not just to represent themselves individually. They represent either the regions they come from, that is the UN Security Council, and represent African people as well in the Security Council. So that is our understanding, and I think for those countries that joined the Security Council at one point or other, that's what I'm sure is driving them during the activities in a presentation of their regions or continent. So I think Rwanda is no exception. We will be doing exactly that. For other issues, it will depend on what problems we have to deal with. And at the same time, it is important that when you are driven by that mind, you make consultations with people. So we will consult with Uganda within the East African community, and we will consult others that we ought to consult for proper execution of that responsibility when we become members of the Security Council. Maybe quickly, if I think they said we answered it to both of us, but I just talk about one, about a small part on that, about electricity. There is no question as to how we need electricity, our two countries or even the whole region. And we have been planning in order for us to make proper investments to be able to generate electricity and, of course, later on distribute it and make our people access that. I think Rwanda and Uganda, and again within the East African Community Framework, we have identified possible sources of energy. Some we have done nationally, others bilaterally, and later within East African Community Framework, which is sub-regionally. And we definitely have the desire to continue making sure that all those possible and cost-effective sources of energy are mapped out and utilized as best we can. For example, in the discussions bilaterally, our two sides have already discussed how to build electricity lines between our two countries, which shows that we are thinking about that. So whenever Uganda can supply Rwanda electricity, we will be happy to make such arrangements so that we benefit from that. And the reverse may also be true. So we are really thinking about that and working hard towards that. And so both investing in generation, power generation, as well as power distribution. Thank you.
Now, there are two sites on the Uganda side of the Kagera. One is Chikagati. The other one is in Shungezi. And both of them are planned to be developed. I think Chikagati, although on those ones we're working with Tanzania, because those are on the border with Tanzania, with Karagwe. So I think we shall get a total of about 50 megawatts on the two sites. And as His Excellency said, there is what we call the East African Master Plan. Maybe you, the journalists, you could look at it, because you are supposed to do research and to be, you are supposed to educate, inform, and entertain. But how do you do it if you don't study? If you are not informed, like you have never heard of the East African Energy Master Plan. Have you ever heard of it? Oh, you have never heard of it. So you go and...
mine goes to both Your Excellencies. the treaty establishing the East African Community up to now is silent on giving powers to the East African Court of Justice to come in on resolving disputes, especially when it comes to operationalizing the Common Market Protocol. As people who make final decisions at EAC level, what are you doing about this? And there are still reports that some countries at national level have laws that are still being a problem to making sure the Common Market Protocol is operationalized. And then two, both of you have recognized each other for efforts in liberating both countries. What do the people of both countries look at in future? Thank you.
The activities of consolidating the regional integration process is really a work in progress. Things are being put in place. We are looking at what works and how fast can we achieve that, and moving on. I think where we were 2 years ago or last year is not where we are today. So even the East African Court of Justice, well, the good thing is it's already in place. That was a process in itself. And then operationalizing it is another process, and it has to be fed into by the national justice systems coming closer and harmonizing a number of things so that the East African Court of Justice can work for the East African community, bearing in mind the existence of different, maybe bottlenecks that have to be put out of the way. This is what goes on in many discussions, even as it's not just East African Court of Justice, it's also maybe East African Legislative Assembly and other things. There is always improvement in how they can serve the East African community to serve the people of this region better. And what was the second part? The recognition of the people of two countries expect what they should expect, and that is two countries working together for the benefit of the people of the two countries and even beyond, and for the good of the sub-region, the East African community. I don't know what else to read beyond what it is. What it is really is that there has always been a need and desire, and it's just right for not only our two governments and leaderships of the two countries and the people themselves working together to deal with the common problems we face, and beyond even our two countries. Look at the region, look at the whole continent, and the continent versus the rest of the world. The interaction between these different elements have issues that we must address, and we expect that we will be able to address them better by working together. Thank you.
And, much to add on, first of all, the East African countries are still independent countries. But by treaty, they agree to share some of their sovereignty for the common good. And the question you're asking is, why doesn't the East African court arbitrate on those shared areas of activity? That's a very good question. it is logical, and we are continuing to discuss it to see how that can happen. Because although they are still independent, they can actually agree that for these areas, which we have already agreed to share, let the common court, our common court, arbitrate on them, maybe as a court of appeal, of ultimate appeal. Now, about what the people of Rwanda and Uganda should expect, yes, they should expect not only the people of Uganda and Rwanda, the people of Africa, they should expect us to provide insurance for the black people, because they don't have insurance in the world. They were colonized some centuries ago. They have just come out of colonialism. Up to now, they are not insured. And to be insured means to be strong, to guarantee our future. I think that's what they should be looking at. How we in Rwanda, we in Uganda, our brothers in Rwanda and East Africa, how we are going to work to have an insurance scheme for Africa.
Your Excellency, I'm called Wanera Stephen. I work with the Daily Monitor. I do appreciate your efforts in trying to make the two countries work together and have security and cooperation. But it is unfortunate that the Rwandese of origin in Uganda and those Rwandese from Rwanda have a very sharp difference which is growing up. I don't know if it is really a concern for you and how you're going to address it so that it doesn't compromise the achievements you have put in place.
Well, it is true, first of all, there is that association called Umubano, and there might have been problems, but to my knowledge, and in fact, in my discussion today with the Rwandese community here, my sense was that this was rather a diminishing problem, not a problem that is getting worse. I think they've been talking to each other, they've been examining what is it that they are really conflicting about. And I was reminding them today that it is important that not only should they live in harmony themselves as these different identities they give themselves, but within one identity of being Rwandese, they should also strive to live in harmony with the others. First it starts from within, and then the group itself must understand that wherever they live, whether they are living in Uganda or with his Rwandese or Ugandans living in Rwanda, it is imperative for them, all of us, to have them live in harmony and to obey the laws of the country and to work for the good of the country and other people beyond themselves. I think they have been along that path. The indication was even in capturing that message. It was clear they've been wanting to resolve any differences between them that shouldn't even be there in the first place, in my view, because there are other issues, more important issues to deal with. When we were talking about, when the president was talking about insurance, you cannot contribute to insurance when you are lost on small issues and you are divided. So I think the message is clear, and I think they understand.
Those first of all, in the communique, you used a word, diaspora. I don't agree with that word. Rwandese diaspora. Diaspora means scattered and lost, and that word you should do. What we are talking about are Banyarwanda of Uganda. Now, these Banyarwanda of Uganda, who are they? As far as I know, there are 3 types. First of all, they are Banyarwanda of Kisoro. You must have heard of Kisoro. Have you heard of Kisoro? The man who was asking. Where is he? Have you heard of Kisoro? Where are you from in Uganda? Busia. Busia is actually more or less like Kisoro. Sambasamia are in Kenya. In fact, the vice president of Kenya was Musamia. And Sambasamia are in Uganda. So the Banyarwanda of Kisoro are like that. Some Banyarwanda are in Uganda, called Kisoro. In the past it was called Bufundira. It was like a county. And other Banyarwanda are in Rwanda. So that's group number 1. Group number 2, there is a region which used to be part of Mpororo. Have you heard of Mpororo? Mpororo is some ancient name of Ankole. Put it like that. This region is called Omutara. This region was put in Rwanda by the colonial boundaries. Just like Kisoro was put in Uganda, Omutara was put in Rwanda. And there are people who lived there. Some are still there, but some are on the Ugandan side. They are mixed clans. Banyarwanda, Banyankole. Then the third category are Bafuriki, people who moved and settled in Uganda. And then the fourth category was the category of people who came as refugees in 1959 or thereabouts. So when you talk of diaspora, whom are you talking about? I think we shall have to discuss that to get a proper description. But secondly, those people we are talking about, in fact, you should call it an NRM problem. Those are all NRM supporters. These are all my supporters. Because in fact, I'm supposed to have met them, but I've been busy. So it's not a big issue. Yeah, as the president said, it seems to be dying down. But more importantly is to describe our people correctly. These are Banyarwanda of Uganda. Just as we have Basamia of Uganda. You are a Musamia? So, you are a Musamia of Uganda. We have got the Bateso of Uganda, we have got Bateso in Kenya, as you know. Baluya the Bagisu are in Uganda and they're also in Kenya. That is the same situation. You are talking about when you are talking about the Banyarwanda community of Uganda. Okay? Thank you very much. No more additional.